Video's up.
Hi everyone, welcome back to Adobe Live. My name is Christine Arth and I'm your host for today, and we are here with Pouya Ahmadi.
Hey guys, how are you?
Yesterday we had a really fun session with Pouya. We went through some of the work for Amalgam, which we have the book here, which is pretty cool. He is also going to be working on a little bit of that today.
Yep.
Another chapter, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, no, same chapter.
Same chapter,
Right,
but
continue
another
working
new
on-
chapter
right.
from the book.
Yes.
So this week we have some really great shows going on. We have guests here as Sunny Park. We have Marta Caro, which is going to be on tomorrow morning as well. I was with Sunny this morning. And then right now, 1 to 3 is Pouya. And then after this, it's Amal Kamal with Kathleen Martin. So stick with us. It's going to be a great show. We also have some pretty cool things for daily submissions this week. Today, we're focusing on creating a logo or a typographic logo for a poster. So if you're in the chat right now, there's a challenge tab that you can download, and you can actually start to create the poster for today's submission for the deadline. And what you're able to win is a year of Creative Cloud, so it's a pretty great opportunity. So I think that's the main thing for the challenge, but stick with us because in about 15-20 minutes we're going to have a chat and win, and you have the opportunity to also win some smaller prizes like the stickers and Adobe pins. So pretty cool stuff. Speaking of pretty cool stuff, maybe we could talk a little bit about your background, and then jump into what we did yesterday.
Sure.
And I can show some of your work while we're talking a little bit about what your background is,
Sure.
where you're from, for those of the new guests today who weren't here yesterday, and that way they can get to know you.
Yeah, sure. My name is Pouya Ahmadi. I'm originally from Tehran, Iran. I did my undergrad studies in Tehran, and then moved to Switzerland, did my grad school there. Actually, 2 different programs. One is the graphic design, and the other one is like image research. And then after that, moved to U.S., Chicago, and I've been there since.
Yeah, Chicago.
Yeah.
Who else is out there from Chicago in the chat?
Anyone?
I know I lived there once. It's a great city.
Cool. And then my focus has been mostly print, but some sort of web-based stuff too. But mostly, I would say typography overall.
Nice. Yeah, you have some great lettering projects in here that are
Thank
just
you.
gorgeous. Speaking of, maybe we could talk a little bit about this Through a Glass Darkly
Sure.
identity.
Yeah, that's a seminar series at the University of Illinois at Chicago that I organized, and I did a whole I invited a series of designers from international and sort of domestic to give talks and workshops at the school, and then I built a whole identity around it, including posters and a website. So these are basically the posters that
That's
you're looking at.
amazing. So is the A and all of the letters along it, is that also physical?
Oh, no. So these are all made actually in Photoshop.
No way.
Yeah, these are all Photoshop 3D.
I'm really impressed on how you did that because they look real. Especially laying them over the posters
Over the
themselves.
side,
How did you get the
distortion.
reflections and distortion?
Yeah, it's also basically in Photoshop, you can, when you work in the 3D environment, you can actually choose the material for the object.
Amazing.
And you can actually specify how much you want it to, whatever sort of fault or whatever is behind it. Yeah, exactly.
Super cool. It's too bad we're not focusing on Photoshop this week because that sounds really fun. Amazing process. Really cool to see the background and how it's come together. How long did a project like this take?
Actually, posters took quite a while, I would say. Just the rendering part took quite a bit of time because you have to figure out the exact lighting that you want, the angles, the shadows, so many. Actually, surprisingly, there are a lot of adjustments that you can do to the material. The level of
lighting you could take forever with lighting.
Exactly.
Was this the Dimension program?
No, this is just Photoshop, standard Photoshop, but there is like a 3D environment that you can do we can work with 3D objects.
Awesome. Well, if you like this, then you should check out the Dimension because it's amazing. Yeah, it does a lot of it in a little bit of a shorter time.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool. This is a great project. Thanks. Chat loves it too. They're like, they're like, I totally thought it was 3D software.
I know a lot of people tell me that. A lot of people thought this is Cinema 4D.
Yeah.
They're like better. Well, I don't know, better necessarily. I mean, for me, it was a lot easier because I'm more familiar with Photoshop, so I could
That would be
find
me
my
as
way.
well. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. This is so cool.
Thanks. But yeah,
very,
so these
very
are the
cool.
website and the people.
Nice job. Was that Chevy Chase?
Yeah, it was. Yeah,
I
that's
love
actually,
Chevy Chase.
It's funny. That's the
I was like,
speaker.
was that Chevy Chase? I was like, because I'm a big
That's
fan.
one of my favorite, actually, Mark Owens. He sent a picture of Chevy Chase because he is a
so
designer
cool.
but also a writer.
Yeah.
And he wanted to have an image that represent that kind of idea.
I love it.
Yeah, it was great. It was really funny.
Is there another project that you might want to talk through? You think the chat will be excited to see?
Sure. Maybe one of the top ones, because the further down you go, maybe that red one. Yeah.
The red one? Okay.
Sure. So this is actually an identity for a fundraiser. 2 years ago, a Green Lantern Press. So every year they have this in December. They have a fundraiser for their publication house, and every year they have a different theme. That year, theme was New Age Now. As you can see, there's this custom type thing that I did for the poster, and then the animation.
What did you do the animation with?
This is actually After Effects.
Nice.
Yeah, it's
great.
and it's
super
really easy.
Fun. Look, it's easy.
to make, yeah, surprisingly. But yeah, so just sort of like you have like coins and like fundraising and all that stuff.
Yeah, but I like that the coins are different. They're not the average
They're not.
coin. Yeah, they're not so coin looking, you know?
Yeah, they're kind of like poker chips.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's more like, let's gamble on this, you know? We're going to gamble on the way that we do this. This is going to be great.
Right,
So
yeah, totally.
come gamble. Throw your money at us. 10 speed.
Totally, yeah.
This is great. So
like
you
fun.
also did the custom type for this, which I find really beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it's like the funky thing.
Yeah. How did you
Big
go about
type.
creating that? Like, what was your inspiration behind the typeface?
Yeah, it was mostly just like this kind of. So there's an exhibition, an auction that goes with the whole fundraising thing, and I was looking at the art pieces that were exhibited, and I thought like they were kind of like some of the typeface, some of the pieces that were in the exhibition were like these kind of like super edgy contemporary art stuff. And I was like, yeah, I want to do something edgy too, like literally.
You're like,
but
I
also,
want edges.
right, like really sharp, pointy,
right?
right. And then I was like thinking about like this idea of like, you know, distortion and like all that stuff. So that's how this kind of like a stretch type.
It's really cool. It's
about.
very sharp. So I completely
Super
understand what
pointy.
you're saying with like the edginess of the other artistic pieces that are in that show. How cool.
Thanks.
Well, this is really nice to see a little bit of the background of your work because today we're going into Amalgam, which is the journal that we have right here. But we're like, yes, this one. Oh, you mean this one?
This one.
It's amazing. So actually taking a look through this, and you can see it on the portfolio site as well. We're looking at creating a new chapter, right?
Continuing,
continuing,
what we started yesterday, yeah.
Very cool. So the systems that you were applying in this one, is it like similar idea around system?
What, the original
the original one? Mm-hmm.
There is a particular system behind that, and it does have to do with all these like things that I talked about, like sort of idea of like randomness, but also very sort of systematic randomness.
Yeah.
But it's not exactly the same, I would say.
No, it doesn't seem the same, but I'm curious of the principles, like if there was a set of rules.
Yeah, there is definitely a set of rules.
Yes.
I'm glad you mentioned.
I was like, yes.
Yeah. Yeah, but that one is more like it has to do with the tone of each submission. So depending on that, the
great
typefaces change, and so those. It's more sort of like context based, but as you can see, the typefaces change throughout. And again, that was also all set in Dynamo's typefaces because those guys were sort of the core of the journal.
Super cool to see. Like really interesting. Chat, I know that you guys who were here yesterday, it's cool to see some of the different work that Pouya has done. I'm curious to hear what everybody thinks. Everybody's like, I'm nerding out, yay. This is good. Awesome. Oh, so nice. So let's talk a little bit about what we're gonna do today.
Sure, yeah. So I'm not sure if I switch to the
let's do
schedule.
It. Sure, yeah, let's keep on schedule.
Keep it systematic.
Yes, he is very organized.
Yesterday we just set up our document. It's a standard publication, 6.5 by 9 inches. And then we went on to sort of do a little bit of a test layout and see what it is that we kind of interested in terms of the composition of the spread. And we landed on solution, which was this guy. And then once we figured that out, I set up the grid, or we set up the grid based on our sort of test layout. So it wasn't the other way around. Usually what you do is that you just plop in a grid and just, define your, 6-column grid, and then you just, figure out which column you want to use. I took the opposite route. I just started with the layout. I figured what it is that I want it to look like, and then based the grid on that type of layout, which ended up being its own master. So we have a master that looks like this, and this is specifically for our body copy. And it's pretty basic. There's not much going on. As you can see, the large column is where the main text shows up. And after that, what we did was we specified the rest of the elements that we need to deal with on the page. So we have these page numbers or folios that we chose a typeface for, and the idea was that we wanted the numbers to move around the page, and then actually Christine mentioned that it could be cool that if they went on a spiral, and I thought that's actually a lot more interesting than what I thought it could be. So I was like, let's push it even further.
Let's make a new rule.
Let's make something even more interesting.
I was so excited. I was like, so
we're
doing it.
So we're gonna do that. So the number on the page on the left side page is gonna actually start rotating, or like going on a spiral loop clockwise, and the one on the right is gonna do the opposite, but again on a spiral
Nice. Loop. So in the chat, how many of you guys were here yesterday and got to go through the rules with us of what will actually make this very systematic but chaotic? Let us know. I know there's a little bit of a lag behind in chat, so we're curious to hear from you and if you also use rules when you design.
Yeah. And so that was another thing. One more thing. We set a couple more rules around our body copy, and those are, for instance, one is that as you can see, the content on the right page is actually set in a different typeface, even though the text continues. It's not a separate, sort of text. It's actually a continuation, but the typeface changes. So that was our second rule. So every other page, the typeface is gonna change, no matter where we are in the, if it's in the middle of the text or at the beginning of the next, piece, it's gonna continue changing on that right-hand side page. And then the other rule that we have on top of it, which we didn't get to apply yet, is that we're gonna actually have the images where our images are gonna appear on the grid, on their own grid. Those images are gonna be knocked out of whatever text comes on the following page.
Nice.
So I haven't done that yet because we haven't gotten that far, but that's another rule that we built.
I love it.
Around it.
There's a lot of people that were here yesterday. So
great.
Yeah,
Cool.
and they're like, it's a good session. Hello, everyone. Hey, Ray, Sarwa,
back.
Jan, Munir, Jan Eric, all of you guys. Voodoo Val's in the house. What's up, Voodoo Val? That was for her. Esther,
Nice.
Yadira.
Great.
Yeah, so if you guys did miss it yesterday, I think today is going to be pretty exciting because it's going to be even more chaotic as things start to progress.
Things are going to get real.
Yesterday was all about rules. Today's all about chaos.
Right. Yep. Pretty much. Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh-huh.
Hi, Rita.
Yeah. So yeah. So we talked about the folios. We talked about the body copy, and then so like I mentioned, the folios get their own grid. This is a separate master that we set up for them, and as I mentioned earlier, these are basically the cells where all the folios are gonna move around or be placed in.
Oh, and I think Jan Eric had a question. What is a folio with regards to InDesign?
Like where?
Like what is a folio?
It's just a page number. That's what.
There you go.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say page number from now.
No, I like
If it's
folio because
confusing.
I think it's like the
Yeah,
editorial.
It's a very sort of like editors usually use
Folio.
their
Nice.
language, I guess.
Now you know, Jan.
Right.
Woo.
Yeah.
Editor
yeah.
language 101. Folio.
Right.
Colophon.
Right. Colophon. Right.
Yeah.
And then so these are the cells. It's just a basic like 4-column, 5 rows, and just the numbers are going to be placed within this kind of format.
Nice.
And
He said thanks.
Sure. No
He's like, I
problem.
like that. A very fancy name for page
Yeah.
number.
I know.
Love it.
That's what I learned was when I started working with like professional editors, like people that actually studied language, and they have like they speak a whole different language. It's
Totally.
just amazing.
It's like typographers as
Right,
well.
exactly.
It's
So, like,
totally different language to say
it's,
the same things, but it's
exactly
nice.
right.
That's how you know if you're like in the club,
Right.
or if you're just
you're-
looking at the
right.
club.
Totally. Yeah. So Anyway, so I'm gonna. So I mentioned the master that we created for the page numbers, and then next thing was a separate grid or master that we created for the images. As you can see, this is a basic sort of like 3x3 grid or raster, and that's just for our images. And the rules that we created around the layout of the image based spreads is that the images always start at the top left corner, and then we start counting from top left corner going all the way to the second page bottom right corner.
Nice.
And we just skip 3 cells and then put in the next image. And then so every spread that we get or moving forward in every spread, we don't start always at that top left corner or top left cell. With every new cell, we're going to start with we're going to move 1 cell forward. So like the next spread that we get that is full images, we're going to start with this second one, and then the third spread is going to be starting with. So this gives us more sort of like variations. So it wouldn't always be like the first one always has to start here. So these are just some kind of, it's a way to create variation, but also in a very kind of systematic, logical way.
Nice. Yeah, I love the rules because I probably don't make enough of them. So it's always, it's a good reminder as well as it is like, ooh, yeah.
Yeah, it's more like rules could be fun. It's not,
rules can be fun.
Right.
Because
Yeah,
it's really fun to see how they clash,
Yeah,
you know?
yeah, exactly, right.
Yeah.
And that's the whole point. Like, that's actually interesting that you mentioned that. So the idea is that I'm kind of aware that these, rules that I'm building are gonna at some point start running into each other and collide.
Totally.
And that's really the exciting part. So this is like the beginning. So things are pretty, clean and, nice, neatly sort of set on the page. But as we move forward, things are going to actually start colliding and are going to create more unexpected scenarios.
There's a lot of people commenting. Alexander, Monier, and Justin are all like, yes, the rules. This is giving me insight, variation, collision.
Yep. All that stuff.
Super good.
All of them. Right.
All right. Yeah,
So,
let's see some collision.
Yeah, right. Yeah. So, basically, so we went, as far as having the first question and first answer, and now I'm moving on to the second. And as I said, in every other page, the rules are going to change, or not the rules the typeface is going to change. So we are on the third page of our sort of like text-based spread. So in this page, the typefaces are gonna stay the same. So I'm just gonna bring in the answer for this section.
And then Alex had a question about the typeface that you're using for the numbers.
Right. So yeah, this is a typeface, like I mentioned. That's actually a good question. So I'm using, again, shout out to these guys.
Shout out to Dynamo.
They did, so this interview that I'm laying out right now, that's with this type foundry, Swiss type foundry called Dynamo, Fabian Harb and Johannes Breyer. A Basel-based foundry, and so I'm basically using all their typefaces for this project, and the numbers are actually part of this font family. It's called Grow.
Nice.
And as you can see, there is like a billion variation in this family. So if I click in,
I like the one you chose though. It's nice. Yeah.
yeah, it's a really it's a super extended family with all these like different outlines, with different sort of stroke types. And this is also the interesting thing about this is that it's a very systematic typeface, but then it gives you variations based on which stroke you want to keep and which stroke you want to get rid of. So that's how they came up with this. So you can see like it can get really
it can get really thick.
Yeah,
that's cool. Yeah, actually Jan Eriksson was just pointing out that Typekit did just expand, and it wasn't just by 300 new fonts. You're now, with your Creative Cloud subscription, you can use up to, I think, 665 new fonts. We're using Dynamo today because that's the source of your book, but there's a lot of really cool fonts that Typekit is extending out with Monotype's license. So if you guys don't have Creative Cloud, that's just another perk of using it and getting it. Pretty cool.
So, yeah. So for my question, as you can see, it's an underline typeface. So the cool thing about that typeface is that they created a typeface that actually is comes with the underline.
Oh, cool.
So
it's
you can
underscored.
See, right? Yeah. It's
what a painful process to create that. Man,
Yeah,
good for them. Yeah. Kudos on those guys.
Yeah, it's really cool. And the coolest thing is that how these like letter forms interact with it. So all the descenders are actually become part of this underscore.
It kind of has a Star Wars vibe.
Right.
Yeah, right? You know?
Yeah, that's interesting. I didn't look at it that way, but yeah, totally. But yeah, it's like even the slash is kind of like, joint here.
That's wild.
Yeah, it's a really wild typeface.
That'd be really cool for giant headlines in a poster.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
I'm like, I want to use it.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. And yeah, it comes in all kinds of weights and sizes and everything. But that's just one cut of that typeface. If I go here, it's called Favorite.
Favorite. It's probably some people's new favorite.
Right. And you can see like it comes in like all kinds of like extended version, extended cut. So these are the standard cuts, including like all the weights.
Amazing.
And then of course there's the favorite lining. That's what this thing is called. And you can see there's italic, heavy.
Yeah, it's nicely done.
Yeah. It's a really
especially when you think of the complexity of how they're going to actually have to space that with the line underneath. Oh, man.
Yeah, it's amazing how it's done.
Yeah, that had to take a long time to create that font.
For sure. And yeah, this is the monospace version of it.
Nice.
So, yeah.
Cool. Well, there's going to be a lot of fun ones to look at through them. I mean, especially, is this whole chapter going to do different typefaces?
Of theirs.
Oh, amazing.
Yeah. So
super cool. So you guys could totally be doing the same thing right now, but with Typekit fonts
Right. Yeah.
and with your
Yeah.
own design.
Yeah.
So maybe follow along and use some of these rules. It could be pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, so I'm just basically bringing in all the text that we need for this section. So that's all we need here. And again, I'm going to go off of our indent rule. I'm just going to add that 1/2 inch.
Nice.
And this is another typeface of theirs I'm using. This is called Profit. And it's right here. And the thing I really like about this is like the way that it's some of the cuts. You can see like the P, it's a very sort of unusual
Yeah.
cut that they sort of, you could imagine that it gives it a little bit of a calligraphic look, but at the same
Completely.
time, it's totally unexpected. Like you wouldn't
Yeah.
expect to see something like that.
Well, a monoline with
Right.
a
and
calligraphic cut. That's
right.
very unusual.
Yeah, it's very unusual, and usually it's not like it's something that in many scenarios are considered a no-no, but how they kind of turned it into a specific quality about their typeface.
Yeah.
That's a really amazing thing about them. So I'm using that, and just because this for their answers, I'm using a larger. Actually, I'm just gonna.
Nice.
I'm using a 16-point type.
Omar has a great suggestion there. He wants to have some successful design tasks with someone in the chat today. Well, Omar, you have the ability to create a poster design using typography from the type kit, and that gives you a chance to win a year of Creative Cloud. So that's a pretty good successful task. Hopefully all of you guys are following and you'll be able to submit some posters. And if you don't do that, there's always the chat and win. And that's happening in about 3 minutes. So,
All right. So,
yes, I think Jan's on a roll today. He said it's truly astounding how a font can completely transform a design. And it's true.
it's true. Yeah, exactly.
Like the personality and the tone and the
Absolutely.
voice, especially in editorial.
Yeah, definitely agree. So again, we are on our right-hand side page, and this is where our typeface has to change. And we talked about using the Pareto typeface, and I thought just because this typeface is more of a display typeface,
Right.
I thought maybe it would be better to use it for the bigger
I
text.
could see that too, yeah. It
So-
gets a little difficult to read the smaller it is.
Yeah. So I'm just still gonna tweak it a little bit, just because I want the gray values to match. So I'm just gonna eyeball.
Hi,
this.
Keela, welcome. Hi, Anais, welcome. Yeah. Hello. More people in the chat. They're all like, yeah.
All right. Welcome.
Yeah, welcome.
Okay. So
Oh,
maybe going a
Benjamin
little
has a
too much.
question.
Yes.
So there's a lot of modern sleek fonts such as Helvetica, Newhouse, etc. But how would someone create a brand new font inspired by these iconic typefaces?
That's a good question. Actually, there is a lot of, so one of the things that you might notice is that there are a lot of variations of new grotesque typefaces. Like Helvetica is a new grotesque, or Noya grotesque.
I always say new
however you
too.
say
I'm
if
like,
you-
Noya, new.
Yeah, however you say it.
Yeah.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, there are a lot of variations of them, and this is actually interesting because we used one that is somewhat a variation, but with this slight tweak of maybe a humanist touch, like the Monument Grotesque, which I'm showing right now. This is another Dynamo typeface. It's actually their latest release, and so when it comes to like slight variations of that category or that genre, it's really about maybe like a certain like fine tuning or like adding an extra sort of element or tweaking a certain piece of the typeface that all of a sudden, creates a whole different vibe. So, I mean, if you kind of compare some of the, details of, Monument, for instance, with Helvetica, there are a lot of similarities, like even like some of, the curves are very similar, but there are very like detail, sort of pieces of the type that actually is different, and that all of a sudden surprisingly gives it a very different look. And sometimes even like it can be as little as like maybe closing an aperture a little bit or opening it up a little bit, or just maybe like, let's see if I can find what I'm talking about. Example.
It's time for Chat and Win. So we might have to recoup that conversation in a second. Yes. All right, guys, you see the fireworks. Get ready. All right, so Chat and Win, guys. Here we go. Who wants to win one of these stickers? If you do, let's say sticker. And what about this pin? If you do, let's say pin. Stick pin, sticker pin, pin stick.
Yeah.
Win it.
Yeah, everyone. Oh, wow.
I know, right? There's a lot of hype here. I like it. Sticker hype.
That's crazy. Oh, my God.
They're like, yeah, me.
So many.
I mean, you're like, whoa. Now that you're looking at the screen, you're like, oh my gosh, everybody wants to win. Right. You didn't see that before, huh? Yeah, we can see you guys and what you're saying.
Yeah.
So, who do we think is going to win?
Okay,
this is a big chat.
Win?
Oh.
All right. Jordan Crawford.
Jordan Crawford, you're the winner.
Yeah.
We're going to send these to you.
Nice.
Congratulations, Jordan. You did it. All right. So I think that means we're back.
Okay.
Oh, but look, Jordan Crawford's name stayed. How fun.
Yeah.
Amazing. All right. Cool.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I'm just going to bring in more of our content. So I'm moving on to the next question.
Nice.
And this is going to be another typeface. And
you're like, yet another typeface.
Yet another typeface. I'm just gonna use the same typeface for now, but then I'm gonna figure out what it's going
Thanks,
to
Roxanne. We'll see you soon. Come back quick. So Christian actually has a great question. To what extent do you use paragraph styles in a project like this?
I use them. This is like, so that's a very good question. At the beginning, I said that proper way to do editorial design is to set up a paragraph style. For this particular project, I'm not doing that just because based on the rules I set, because the typeface is constantly changing, so there's a lot going on. It wouldn't make sense for me to set up a paragraph style, but that's a very good question. If this is not this is a very sort of like experimental project, and that's the reason I'm not doing the paragraph style. But if you're doing a typical layout editorial design, you should definitely, after you figure out what it is, what typeface you want to use, and how you want to set it and everything. Once you figured all that out, you should definitely use a paragraph style. In those kind of projects, I always do. For this particular one, it just doesn't make sense to do.
Yeah, I could see that. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts in this piece, mainly because even if you were to set a paragraph style while you're working, you're changing the size of the font and the kerning and leading for each type of font.
Exactly.
So even to do a generic setting for just this size and this weight, it wouldn't even work.
Right.
So it might not be the best idea.
Right, exactly. It's just sort of like it goes against the idea of this, system that we came up with.
Yeah, totally. Oh, it's cool. Awesome. Welcome back, Anel. Good to see you again. I think Anel actually submitted some cool designs yesterday, so I'm excited
Nice.
to see them all
Yeah,
submit
welcome
for the
back.
poster today. Huh. That's the challenge.
Yeah.
So, if you guys see it up on the screen, that means that there's 55 minutes for a glorious poster design. And I'm hoping that we get about 15 or 20 submissions, so that would be
All right.
amazing.
Yeah, definitely. Do it, guys.
Yeah, do it.
Do it.
You're like, do it.
Yeah.
Do it.
Submit as many
Yeah,
things
as many
as you can.
Apparently, Kathleen got them to submit about, I think, 16 or 17 last
Nice.
session. So
We want to break the record.
yeah, we're breaking records.
Break the
yeah,
internet.
that means that she'll have to judge
Yeah.
like 20 by the next session.
All
Oh
right.
yeah. Let's make it difficult.
Let's do it. Yeah. Let's make it as difficult as possible.
Amazing.
All right. So for this one, I'm thinking maybe I use the mono space. This is, just as different as possible.
You're like, everything's gonna be very different in this layout.
I'm
I
just
like
gonna
it.
try to make as many different options as possible. Okay, let's see.
Cool.
Yeah, so this is really the reason I'm doing that. I don't know if I explained this before, but the whole idea behind this is that these guys are Type Foundry, and this conversation could actually turn into a type specimen. So this is the reason we're switching typefaces back and forth to sort of like showcase also their work. So it's like feature within a feature, like it's, I don't know, meta feature.
Yeah. No. Awesome.
Okay, so I'm just gonna add an extra space here. Okay, so
Kalia says, "Help me, guys! Can't get my eyes off the number 6. Awesome font.
yeah.
Maybe
And
we
then
should just
great.
like put a big number 6 in the corner and keep
Right.
it there for
Just
Kalia.
keep number 6 there. Just
Totally.
not gonna change.
Be like, sorry, man.
Right. It's just gonna
Can't
be
help
there.
it. Awesome.
It's gonna be there forever. Yep. Okay. So
Too good.
this one I'm going to use. Let's see.
Morning has a great question. Is InDesign a great way to learn typography? Is it a good platform for typography in your opinion?
Definitely. Yeah. Typography is, it's a really broad term. I would say if you're specifically talking about like type features, like certain type features that you would have access to within a certain software, I would say InDesign is definitely one of the best because it gives you all kinds of like control over type that you might not get in all softwares. Like Photoshop, for instance, is a very limited.
Yeah,
you
definitely.
know, when it comes to type. So you can say like definitely it has different control, gives you a lot more control.
Yeah, and as you guys are watching Pouya set up this document, you can see the utilizing fonts as the way that they're meant to be used, as in to be legible and readable. You can really tell differences between good type and bad type and display type versus like families of type. So you start to understand the characteristics of a font and why you want to use one for long form versus short form, or titles versus legibility and body copy. So I think InDesign's great for that because you're laying out so much type and it's mainly for type and editorial.
Right.
That you can really start to notice differences between a heavyweight font and like something that's like easy to read and not.
Definitely.
Whereas Illustrator, you can just manipulate everything and have a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I was like what I like to do. but
Yeah.
it's such a balance between the two where like they
Yeah.
both, you can do both in both of them, but
Exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's cases where you're, for instance, like let's say you're doing a brochure that is like, I don't know, like 6 pages,
Yeah.
and then it's, you know, you could go either way. And I mean, usually if I have like a lot of like sort of illustrations, like digital illustrations that I need to do, I definitely feel more confident, you know, using Illustrator just because that's the
Totally.
tool for it. It gives
Yeah.
you a lot of sort of control over drawing, you know, like certain type of path,
Yeah.
you know, stuff like that. But
Oh yeah, we're gridding it up. I can already see this is happening.
right.
New grid.
Yes.
All right, guys, see if you can follow along the rules. It's do 1, skip 3, do 1.
Right.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So like I said, we're not going to start with that first one because this is
Nope.
our second image spread.
Second spread.
Right.
I'm
So it starts
thrilled. I
with the
can't wait to
second
see.
cell. And then we just gonna.
I know.
keep,
We
you
don't
know,
even know what
popping
it's
in.
going to look like. This is
Right?
what's so
Yeah.
exciting
I
because
don't
we
know
have
what's
no
gonna
idea.
look like. I have no idea. I just set up the system and I'm just letting it play out.
It's kind of like your computer yourself,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
You
Right.
act as though you're a computer, but you're still creating.
Right. Yeah. You're kind of so like this idea is a very kind of common. It became really common with the conceptual art, like people like Sol Lewitt, you know, people that came up with these sort of like set of instructions. They came up. So instead of like artists implementing the art piece, they thought, okay, we're gonna step back. We're gonna come up with the rules and instructions, hand it off to the people that implement it, and they're just gonna go off of them. And so the artist
So interesting.
doesn't have like direct control. It's just the person who creates the system.
Yeah.
So this is
It just makes it's like you're creating production for yourself, but yet the rules are so refined
right.
that it's art.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Really cool.
And so yeah, so I'm just basically counting from here. 1, 2, 3. Next image. 1, 2, 3. Next image here.
Oh yeah.
And I'm just basically fitting in.
Monier said, thanks for the answer. It's worth not going outside and doing a walk. Well, we're glad that we're contributing to your
Right.
possible diabetes and friendlessness, you know, like stay inside and watch TV.
Yep.
I love that. That's what I do. I'm like,
Yeah.
why would I go
That's great.
out?
Yeah, totally.
Adobe Live is
No,
on. I'm never
yeah,
leaving the
never,
house.
ever again.
In fact, I'll just make some popcorn.
Yeah, totally. Perfect time for a popcorn.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I would do.
Yeah, maybe I'll bring popcorn tomorrow.
Great. Yes, please.
Yeah. Are you a popcorn addict too?
I can eat a lot of popcorn.
Yeah, me too.
Try not to, but I can.
Ah,
Yep.
too funny.
Okay, so this is our next one. Oop.
Amazing.
So 1, 2, 3.
Oh, Voodoo Val, you're funny. She's like, that describes my life. And I'm laughing nervously.
Great.
Oh, this looks great. And it doesn't
Thanks.
feel random. That's the part that I love.
Yeah, it's kind of like it's random, but it's not random. It's everything. And then I'm gonna. So we're having a little bit. We have more images that we can move on to the next spread. And like I said, I'm gonna start with the third cell because this is our third spread. And
3 for 3.
yeah, 3, 4, 3. And this is gonna be our, so this is our last image actually. And like I said, the rule for this one is that it gets to spread out all the way to the, to here.
And these are photos from the studio and their process, right?
Right,
Yeah.
yep, exactly.
Yeah, they're great. So
yeah.
one thing that I noticed that I feel like other people might have noticed is there's a lack of color.
Yes.
As in, there's no color.
Right. There's absolutely no color here.
So is this a Dynamo thing, or is this an amalgam?
Yeah,
like
this
preference?
is right. Yeah, so this is like
Because I know there's color in your work occasionally.
definitely. Occasionally,
yes.
yes.
Restraint.
Right, absolutely. I mean, with this one, these images that they sent me, they're actually all colorful images.
Right, but purposefully you've altered them.
That's a good question. Yeah, I did make them all black and white, and that's usually how I start.
Yeah.
I just want to keep everything as simple as possible, and then if I add any kind of layer of complexity, that's something that I add at the end. So I go back and see, like, okay, does it make sense to actually have like black and white, monotone, full color images, or what about the type? Could it be in color? So this is something that we can, once we're done with the layout, we can go back and take a look and see, okay, maybe actually it needs more color. But
I really like it. I think it's a great process too. It's kind of like logo design in a way, where you want to start out with black and white so that you can see if it's working conceptually.
Exactly.
And then go back in to add color. I don't know if I've ever seen that process in editorial design, and I really like that.
Cool. Yeah, that's great. Yeah, I mean, I personally, I prefer that approach. It works for me. It works well for me.
If it's working for you, it's working, because we like what you're doing.
But yeah, it's not like anything like you have to do it this way or anything like that. So right now I'm done with these images. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to apply my page number grid or master to these pages, so I can bring in these cool, awesome
things are getting crazy.
Right. So like I said, these guys are moving on a spiral. So this guy is going clockwise, this guy is going
Kalia's gonna get real excited soon.
Yeah.
There's an 8 now.
Right.
And I love that the 9 is overlapping with both the running is it the running headlines?
Yeah. So like it's kind of like this is where the messy stuff are going to happen.
So cool.
Yeah. And then again, same thing with this guy. And apply the page number grid, and I'm gonna bring in these two guys. Paste in place. Okay. So now we're going to 2 digits. So I'm gonna have to open up some room for these guys.
Nice.
And so
God, those numbers are just gorgeous.
Yeah,
they really are. Yeah.
So much fun.
It's a great choice.
So now we can decide, like, because we have an empty page here, we can continue our text right here instead of going to a next spread. So actually I'm gonna do that, but before doing that, I'm gonna apply our first master, which is for our body copy first here. So that way, when I click on this guy and bring it here, I can adjust it to that grid. Okay, so now, so this is the rest of my
so cool
text.
Oh, so hey chat, if you're following along, I'm really excited to hear your thoughts. You're really seeing Pouya's work come along today. Yesterday was rules, today is breaking them and colliding with them and overlapping with them.
Who knows what's going to happen tomorrow?
Yeah, who knows what's going to happen tomorrow.
Right.
Let us know what you're working on and if you're actually using some of these rules for yourself.
Right, yeah. So here you can see like there's this collision happening. So in this case, just because I really want this text to be legible, I'm gonna actually control this particular scenario. I'm going to select this guy and make sure that the text wraps around it.
Nice.
So it's still...
You're like, we want to read some of the words.
Yeah, we should read something.
Not all of them.
Yeah. Even though these guys are gorgeous and can override everything, but, we kind of want them to be a little in control. So gonna continue bringing in more text. here.
Nice. Yeah, Val, I agree. She said watching this come together is super inspiring and that she wants to do an art zine soon because this is really helping a lot.
That's great. Yeah, do it.
Totally.
Go
Art
for it.
zines in the house.
Okay, so this page again gets to have a different typeface. So,
Oh, here we go.
right?
I
What are we
can't wait
gonna
to know
do?
which one we're picking.
I don't know.
You're like, I have no idea
This
yet.
is
I'm
a
like,
random.
yeah, I know, me too.
This is a random. I'm gonna go with a different set, Dynamo standards.
Nice.
And those.
Welcome, Angelica. Thanks for joining.
Are-
We saw you yesterday. We're so glad you're back. I think she's in from Turkey, if I can remember. Let us know. You missed all the important things, Angelica.
The most important.
Yeah, she's like, I hope I didn't miss anything. I'm like, everything was
Well,
important.
I don't know. Yeah. Everything.
Nice. Yeah, she's from Turkey. Cool.
Great. Yeah, welcome.
And Christian loves rules. And
Awesome.
sometimes he has a hard time breaking them.
Yeah, you gotta do it.
Gotta do it.
Yeah. So I'm looking at this other collection of Dynamo typefaces, and they call this Dynamo Standards.
Yeah, I was like, this is a whole new site for
Yeah,
them.
this is a whole new website. It's a separate site.
Oh.
And they have all these like sort of variations on different, typefaces like program, and you get to see like sort of sample of it here. So I'm just basically gonna choose. I used Pegasus already, so I'm gonna go for something else. Maybe I use.
Oh, man, this is tough.
Warren. Yeah, there's a lot.
There's a lot.
So, yeah, I might go.
Thanks, Val. She's like, and then here's the standards of Dynamo.
Yes, totally. So,
Oh, Paul says this is great. He's working on taking a report for an IoT company and laying it out for a magazine-style print. He said it's great to have this inspiration.
cool.
That's
Great to
awesome.
hear. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Bye, Anel. Have fun at work. It won't be as fun as this. She's like, I know.
okay, back here.
Oh, Billy Helvestica?
Yep.
Ooh, I like their sneaky Swiss names. They're like,
Yeah, totally.
Very nice,
Helvestica.
Dynamo. Very nice.
Very smooth.
Well, hopefully you guys are also working on your poster challenge because that's going to set you up with a full year subscription to Creative Cloud and endless type from Typekit. If you win.
If you win.
Yes.
Only if.
Only if. And if you don't submit during this session, then you have a chance to submit in the next session, and the winner of the day will be chosen at the end of the day. Pretty great.
Mm-hmm. So that's that. Gonna bring in these guys. Okay, so yeah, we have more images from the previous section.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm gonna create another spread for the
Nice.
images. And these are going to be images from this third question.
Well, that's okay, Juan, if you're at the office and you can't work on the poster. Tomorrow, maybe. Maybe tomorrow you'll have a chance to enter. But actually, tomorrow is portfolio review, so maybe later. Maybe in the next couple hours.
Yeah.
Cool, at least you're listening. That's pretty awesome. Thanks for joining us. Ooh,
Yeah.
yeah.
This is another custom typeface they did based on these
Man.
ornaments or ornamental letter forms.
Wow.
So again, I'm moving to the fourth cell, and and this is our last one. And like I said, I'm gonna skip 3 cells, place this here, and then stretch it all the way.
Wait, is that the same image as the as the other one?
This is it. Wait, no, this is different, I think. This part is different. So I'm just
Oh.
I'm gonna crop this part and let the bottom part.
Got it. Yeah. Nice.
Be the main thing, and then yeah, I'm gonna stretch this all the way. And then again, I'm gonna bring.
Yeah, this is a cool typeface. I agree. This is very cool.
Yeah. it's
Hi,
super
Brandon.
funky.
Welcome. Glad you joined too. It's pretty awesome.
Yep. So now I'm applying our page number grid, and
It's also
I-
exciting. It's like a layer cake, you know? Like,
Yep.
cake is good to begin with. And then you put on like another layer of
Another,
cake.
yeah.
And then you put
Ice
on
cream.
icing. And you're
Right.
just like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, everything.
Yeah. Now I want cake.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah. So, yep. Like I said, these guys are gonna move
Mm-hmm.
clockwise, counterclockwise, and there is no.
Amazing.
Yeah, and this guy is actually covering up. I could move this to the background, but that's okay. I actually kind of like this accident.
Yeah.
And so that's these guys. I do actually have, so now we are third question and the fourth question started here. And so I could actually continue with images. So I'm not going back to go to the text. I'm gonna actually continue creating another spread.
Oh,
with
Ray,
our-
I think that the portfolio review is for as long as you have a portfolio on Behance. So feel free to submit your portfolio for tomorrow. Are you excited to review portfolios
Yeah,
tomorrow?
do it.
I know, right?
Submit.
Yeah, submit. You're like, do it.
Do it.
Amazing.
Yeah.
It's a lot of text. This is going to
Yeah,
be
it's
fun
a
because there's
long
a lot
interview.
of, a lot of fonts that they've got.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Perfect, opportunity to try as many fonts as possible. And so yeah, for this one, what do I have? Okay, I'm going back here and see where I am. Yeah. So
Nice. Well, we're getting to that 30-minute mark, you guys. That means that you're probably getting close to putting some finishing touches on your posters. Oh, yeah, right?
yeah.
Totally done early. I bet they're submitting right now.
All right.
Yeah.
Let's
Tons.
see.
All right. They're like, no.
No, you're not there yet.
Oh, we do have a couple in there. I'm pretty excited. Yeah.
Yeah.
This is
All right.
great. We've got 6 so far. That's pretty good. You
Cool.
guys could
Yeah.
probably
Keep
make
it
it
coming.
to 20
Yeah.
by
Let's do
30
20.
minutes. Yeah, let's do 20.
Yep. Let's do 20. See if we can break the record.
Yeah, we're record breakers.
Yeah, totally.
I like that.
And these are 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. That's a lot of images.
That is a lot of images.
Yeah, we're gonna have
But
to
that's
put-
great. We could
Yeah,
have some
it's gonna
full-on
have-
image spreads.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Love
so
it.
I actually decided to continue with the text just because it would make more sense to have the text and then have the
Mhm.
images right after. So that's
Ah,
what I'm
yes. Good question, Angelica. It was KVP, Christoph Van, let's see. He won yesterday. I can't remember the full name. Hold on. KVP won. Christoph won yesterday for business
oh yes,
cards. Yes.
great, congrats.
Yeah, I think you reviewed that one, right?
Yeah, that was really nice. Yeah,
Yeah.
great job.
Yes. It was great. He was the winner.
Nice, well deserved.
Yeah. It was cool because he changed his avatar to his new logo too.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, I was
that's
like,
great.
oh, I see what you did there.
Uh-huh.
Nice.
Yeah, well done.
Hi, Felicia. Welcome.
Hello.
I love it. Hello.
Hello.
I love it. You're like in the midst of doing all the
like,
rules. Hello.
Hey.
Triple hello.
Okay.
Yes. Today's wiener, as Michael Shays would say. He's French.
Now that makes sense. Okay.
You're like, oh.
I get it.
Jan Eric reminded me. He's like, who will today's segment's wiener be? And I'm like, the wiener is.
The wiener.
En français. It never gets old.
Yeah. That's rich.
Yeah.
Okay. So, yeah, I'm just dealing with the text right
Yeah,
now.
you are. You're like, I'm dealing with it.
I'm dealing with it. It's just
Kind of like that gambling thing,
Right,
you know? You're like
yeah,
dealing
I'm
it
like-
out. Yeah.
yeah. So okay, so this is the page that things are not going to change. This is the one where things are not going to change. Here I'm going to change the typeface. Actually,
Oh, yeah, I can't
This
wait
was
for the
the
numbers to get in that page.
yeah, I should actually.
I was like, because that text flow is going to be fun.
Yeah. And then-
Yeah, we all miss Michael Jan. It's like he's gone to French vacation or something, but he's still upstairs. We saw him yesterday. He cut his hair, just so you guys know. So did Rufus. I wonder if they got haircuts together.
Oh.
It could be like an Adobe thing, you know?
Yeah.
Everyone gets haircuts at the same time. Never know.
Yep. Okay, so I'm using Jinto for this part.
Paco and Gus are back. Hey, guys.
Hello.
We were just talking about group Adobe haircuts because Michael and Rufus both got haircuts. No,
Bowl
but
cuts?
did you guys also get haircuts? Oh, this is super funny. Jan Eric said, joke of the day, what's Adobe's barbershop named? Final Cut Pro.
That's good.
I love dad jokes.
That's a good one.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm going to laugh about that for a while, but on the inside. Don't worry, everybody's laughing in this room, Jan. So good. Amazing.
Okay. So
You're like, so back to
What are
this
we doing?
design that we're doing. This
What's going on
important
here?
stuff, you know. You're like, what's going on over
What's
here
going
with
on
this
over here?
editorial?
okay. Yeah. So
Too fun.
back to the page numbers. Everyone's favorite.
Everyone's favorite.
Yeah.
They like Grow.
Yeah. It looks like it's
Yeah. Hopefully
popular.
Dynamo's gotten some serious sales
Yeah.
kickbacks. I hope you
Yeah,
get some
let's
royalties
see.
on that, right?
Yeah.
Little kickback action, maybe some free coffee.
right. Okay. So
Oh, good. Osama just submitted. Yeah.
Nice.
Nice job. Yeah, as you guys are submitting your posters, give a shout out and let us know.
yeah.
I like that.
All right. So placing in the numbers, and I'm also moving them around.
Nice. Getting some more submissions in there.
All right.
Nice.
Okay. So numbers are moving. And the next page is, I'm actually gonna change the typeface again based on our rule. So let's see. So this one that I used is Gentle Light for this page. Now, let's see, what should we go for? Diatype. We could go back for favorite, or we could do something we didn't use. I'm just gonna go back up here. Use Pardo. We did not use Galapagos, so I'm just gonna use that one. This one also has a lot of different variations.
It looks like it.
And this is also again, it's a really systematic typeface. It's all based on this grid, as you can see.
Oh wow!
And it's all modular, and the letter forms are basically built based on all these simple shapes: the stroke, the the half or the quarter circle stroke, and then there's also these like horizontal, vertical, and then circular form.
Yeah, and it looks like a full square between each letter.
Exactly.
Double between a cap.
Right.
Wow. That's some rules. You're like, I like this font. There's a lot of rules.
A lot of rules. Yeah, but at the same time, it's so like
so
funky and like, it's super like playful. And they actually did, they collaborated with a designer who actually made these blocks, like a physical blocks that kids can play with, and they can make the alphabet with them.
What a great idea to turn this into a physical piece of
object,
work.
Right? Yeah. So yeah, and it comes
and
with
they
all
even
these...
did a cursive, a script.
Yeah.
Wow.
Isn't that cool?
Noble. That looks so hard.
Yeah, totally. Right?
Yeah. I have some people that would cry right now if they saw that. They'd be like, oh gosh.
What is going on?
Those poor typographers.
Right, yeah. Yeah, that's the thing that I really like about their work, because they really take all kinds of risks. And
extremely.
Yeah, very.
Well, I mean, we don't need another really good serif or sans.
Right.
That's perfect. We need something that's original.
Yeah, and different, and
It almost looks like acrylic.
Yeah.
From a distance.
Yeah, totally. No, that's an interesting observation. Yeah.
Which is pretty calligraphic, so that would make sense considering the small arch movements on the elements that they've included. Wow.
Yeah, so I'm just trying to see like which cut would be the best.
Yeah, right.
There's like, so many cuts.
I'm like, that looks like acrylic. You're like, yep, can't read it.
Yeah. Can I read it?
Yeah.
So yeah, we want to keep it legible still.
For the most part,
For the most part. But yeah, at the same time, we want to keep it fun.
Yeah.
So that's a challenge.
I guess since the interview is with them, right?
Right.
Then I guess if we can't read it based on their type, then it's okay.
Yeah, should be fine, right?
Yeah, they did design it.
Yeah, that's true.
It's kind of like self-punishment.
Self-punishment. So
that's very cool.
I can actually keep this. I'm just tightening up.
Yeah.
The type. I just want to reach.
So what do you guys think out there? It's pretty cool font, right? There's a question from Jan. How does one avoid the river of white space between words in long vertical paragraphs? Like when you do get rivers, which...
Right. Yeah. I mean, you can, like overall, if you have like large gaps, I mean, this is, as you can see, this is a monospace typeface. And with those, you always get those, problems. The white gap is going to be, or the word space is going to be large.
Right.
You can always adjust those if you go to your settings. Okay. So let's see where we are. Type. Go to paragraph. Just gonna select this one, and then there's so much reflection. Can't see my screen. Yeah, you can. So basically, like word spacing, this is if you go to that exact same menu that I went to, paragraph justification menu. Up here, you can actually specify what your desired, word spacing is. So it's by default, it's always set to the minimum 80%. Maximum is 133, but this is just a default. You can of course go in and tweak, and you can always set this, to like 90%. So that gap is going to be by default a lot less.
Right.
So that's how I do it.
Nice. Well, there you go, Jan. Now you never will have to worry about rivers again.
Yeah, no rivers.
Except in the real world.
Right.
So you guys have 20 minutes. I'm curious, has anyone else submitted? Give yourself a shout out.
Keep them coming.
Oh, Jan said thank you.
Sure. No problem. Okay, so I'm moving to the next spread, which is an image spread, and I'm starting with the 5th column because this is our 5th image spread.
Nice. Yeah, Angelica has a point. She's like, this could be a cool cool font for a pattern, the Galapagos,
yeah.
just because it looks like ancient symbols.
Yeah, totally. That's a really
it might
good
not
idea.
be legible.
Yeah.
But to Eric's point, it might not be legible, but I think that there's a lot of interesting use cases for it, especially for logo designers, taking the pieces of that to create a logo.
Definitely.
I mean, amazing use case.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree. Like, it has its own context.
Yeah, it's more display, beautiful.
Right, yeah, playful situation. And, like I said, they even created objects, like play or toys for kids. So that's also another fun thing. So it could be totally used in that context, something that is more playful.
Totally.
But, yeah, it's definitely an interesting... could be used for
You're like,
okay,
I do that sometimes where I don't do the wrong key command and I'm like,
am I not using the okay. It's interesting because sometimes I don't think about what shortcuts I'm using and it just it's all like habitual.
Yeah. You're like, wait, shoot.
Yeah, what am I? Okay.
Oh, yeah, so, that one gets to go all the way over. Right, I'm excited.
Yeah, exactly. Right. So this one is the last one in the image. So again, like this is a totally different placement.
Well, it's lighter because the images have more white space.
Right.
And there's no definement edge.
Right.
So, wow.
And then just because we have more images, I'm just going to go to the next one, bring in all the images for this section. And then we're going to go back and put the page numbers in.
Nice.
And yeah.
I love those page numbers.
Okay.
Are we on 6? Wow.
Yeah, we are already on 6. I'm starting that corner, the 6th column. Okay, so this is what I was talking about, the modular type for kids. So they created
very cool.
those blocks. Yeah. So next one is 1, 2, 3. This one is going to be here.
Nice.
And
yeah, less than 20 minutes for the challenge. Don't forget to submit your posters. We're really excited to see them. I'm hoping we get more than 15. Oh, there's a couple more in there. You guys are doing a really good job. This is
nice.
Awesome.
Well done.
Yeah, I think we might even get there. We've got 9. This is good. Let's do it. Shoot for 15.
Yeah. Let's do it, guys.
Yeah, guys, let's do it.
Okay.
So cool.
And 1, 2, 3. Here we go.
Here we go.
Yep. One more. This one is gonna be the last last one, and it's actually the last cell on this spread.
So it seems like you've got a lot of pretty cool projects in general, but if there was a project that you haven't worked on before, what would your dream project be? Or like new idea project like that you haven't yet
done.
Yeah.
I do really enjoy working on identity projects, but like maybe identity projects that have a lot of room for interpretation. So I can do things that are not generally done. So those are the things that I enjoy a lot, like especially if they come with like certain like publication pieces or
maybe
posters.
an identity for a publication.
Yeah.
That could be really cool.
Yeah, I would definitely enjoy.
Well, you guys heard it here. Send him an identity for a publication.
Do it.
So his dreams can come true.
Yeah.
What about you guys? What about chat? What is your dream project that you'd like to work on?
Everything print.
Probably. Ooh, that's a good photo.
Yeah, they did the typeface.
For the watch?
Yeah, for the watches.
Nice. Ooh, Voodoo Val says she wants to make a game and publish a novel someday.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
A novel that you design with your own font.
Yeah. Wouldn't that be awesome?
Right?
That's
You're
great.
like, I just made this typeface and I also wrote a novel.
Right. That's a great idea.
Yeah. Novel cover or wine bottle. Nice. Awesome.
Oh, flip it.
100 daily logo project. Ooh, that's achievable, Eric. I think you should start tomorrow.
Yeah.
Right after you do a poster today and submit your portfolio tomorrow,
exactly.
then start the 100 daily logo project.
Yeah, then you get to do it.
Yeah. I have full confidence that he'll kick butt on that.
Yeah, totally. So we have a lot of images.
Nice.
But these were
I
the
like
last
it.
ones.
I'm excited to see these posters, guys, and to hear your dream projects. Tell us more about what you would want to do if you had the client of your dreams. Or yourself as a client, I guess.
Yeah.
You know?
Uh-huh.
It's probably the client of my dreams.
Yeah.
Like, which would be very difficult, so maybe
Yeah.
not. I'd prefer other people.
It can be very...
It's the worst, you know?
It could be the worst thing ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like, what do you want to do now?
What
It's like,
would
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know anymore.
So funny. Do you find working on self-initiated projects are the most difficult?
Yeah, I would say most challenging are definitely self-initiated, because then you have to come up with the, with the brief, and you have to set certain goals for your project.
Totally.
And you're your own client, so
yeah, so you
it's
can
the worst
be
thing.
the worst to yourself.
Yeah, definitely.
Totally.
So now I'm going back and I'm gonna apply all the
numbers.
The fun part.
Here we go, guys.
And
it's time for numbers.
Yeah. So what I'm doing right now is that I'm applying the B master, which is our page number master or grid, and I am going to bring in these guys.
It's cool to be able to toggle on and off different master grids so that you can utilize them for different parts and phases of your design.
Exactly. Yeah, that's...
Oh, cool. Steven says he wants to illustrate his first children's book. Nice.
All right. Yeah, it's great.
I wonder what the topic would be.
Mm-hmm.
You could use Galapagos as the font.
Yeah, yeah.
It'd be a really fun one.
Totally.
Nice. I'm excited to see how these are gonna move around the page.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Are they gonna run
do.
into each other?
No.
Oh,
So
cool.
I'm actually what I'm gonna do next is that. Yeah, I don't know why I don't. Something's wrong with my
Afroya
mouse.
likes your design. It's cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Me too, Afroya. This is pretty cool.
Yeah. So, yeah, each of these guys are gonna actually rotate within their own page. But what I'm gonna do right now is that I'm gonna, because they're all set, I'm using the marker feature, which is down here. If you select your type and then go down here, special character markers, and then set it to current page number, it automatically updates. So what I'm gonna do right now is that because I want to, so it doesn't allow me to change the placement of the letter forms or the digits. I have to actually cancel that feature on this page, because what I want to do is that I want to move this 6 below number 1.
Got it.
So that way it is.
Uncle Rufus is here.
That
You're
time
like, yes,
of the day.
it's that time of the day. Uncle Rufus is gone. He's left the building. Only a brief moment. It was like in and out, man. So back to those numbers.
Yeah.
My apologies.
Yeah, no problem.
It was like
yeah.
seeing Elvis come in and out, you know? I was like, oh, it's Elvis.
Yeah, so I'm gonna actually.
So you're going to stack them for this one?
Yeah, so that's what it was.
Cool.
What I'm gonna try to
That's
do.
so wild.
Yeah, this is the problem. When
You're like,
you're,
this is a problem.
when you set really ambitious goals for your project.
Totally, but that's why it's going to be so cool.
Yeah. So. Yeah.
Oh,
so
right,
I'm
because it's
going
page
to,
16, so do you have to keep that somewhere else? No.
So I'm gonna actually just, so this is going, rotating like
Right.
clockwise, so I'm just gonna keep that, okay, gonna
So
keep
cool.
it on the grid, and I'm just gonna move around, but just because this is 2-digit
Nice.
value, I'm just gonna stack them, and I think it gives it a more fun look.
Totally, yeah.
This
This is great.
With this one,
Well, it'll
we
also
have to
spread it
think.
out in a way
Yeah.
that
yeah,
will help it overlap more imagery.
we could actually stack this one. We could go either way with this one. I'm just gonna stack it, just because it's
Why
fun
not?
to kind of
Yeah.
have them.
You're like, why not?
near-
It's kind of fun, yeah.
yeah. And then,
I think it also helps people later understand that there is a grid.
right, yeah, definitely. That's a good point. Yeah. And then for the next 2, we're moving down, and we're going to 18. Okay, this 8 is a little chubby.
I like a chubby 8. That's
Yep.
cool.
have
It's
to
so
open
cool
it up some
looking,
room.
yeah. And the 19, so
And
nice.
the 19. And so as you can see, I'm moving down, and I'm gonna take these 2 to the next spread.
It's looking really fun.
20 and 21.
Super. So if you guys are out there in the chat, you have a little more than 5 minutes to submit your poster designs for a chance to win Creative Cloud subscription for an entire year, which is amazing. And you also get the luxury of having feedback from Pouya. So it's pretty cool. Both is a win-win.
Yeah, submit your work.
Yeah.
Okay. All right, 23, 22, 23.
Looking good.
All right. Okay, so we're done with the images for this section. That was a lot of images.
It was a lot of images, but it's nice to see so many. It's great.
Yeah, it gives it a good variation.
Yeah.
And right now we are already down to page 22 and 23. So it's gonna be a long section.
It's cool.
And
It's worth it because it's visually stimulating to look through and like flip the pages. I could definitely see this being an amazing coffee book, you know?
Yeah, it's getting there.
Yeah.
It's going to be a really thick coffee table.
That's cool,
book.
though. For those who drink a lot of coffee.
Right, yeah. This would be your
this
cup of
yeah, this is a good book
cup
for
of
that.
coffee.
Exactly.
Yeah. So back to the text. I'm just going to go up all the way up here and bring in these guys. Okay, so again, this section is going to be, so the typeface is going to be the same for this section. And, okay, missing any line breaks or anything? No. Okay.
Cool.
So, okay, so this is this. I'm going to bring...
Oh, is this when we do a new font, or do we keep it?
This is the page where we keep it as is. I'm going to bring in the rest of this section in, or I'm going to bring in the rest of this. Their conversation.
Cool.
Did I select the whole thing? Yes.
You're like, that would be bad.
No, I should not do that.
Yes, you change your entire layout.
Text.
You're like, no.
This is not happening. And back here.
Don't forget to get your poster submissions in. I know we've got one from Osama, he had said, so this is great. Thank you, Osama. Cool.
That's that. And then, yeah, this is a long one, so.
Nice. It's so interesting to see that type in long format.
Yeah.
It's pretty cool.
It's not very legible.
No, but it's interesting.
Yeah.
Sometimes that is good for editorial. Sometimes.
So this is the one that, this is the right hand side page, is the page where we get to change our typeface again.
Mm-hmm.
So let's go for the opposite of that. So
Yeah.
something that is not modular. And did already use Jinto. We used Monument Grotesque.
You're like, we're going through all of them.
Yeah, we're going.
Hi, Ashi. Welcome back.
Or we could just go here. I'm going to use program.
Nice.
So, oh,
You're like, I'm going legible.
from completely illegible to completely legible. And I'm going to actually use an italic one. I just want to do very different.
Nice. It's a great contrast to Galapagos. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah, that's what I'm going for. So if I...
Oh, the countdown is real. We've got just under 2 minutes to submit poster designs, you guys. So I hope you've got everything ready and up there and you're starting to submit. This is going to be great. Oh, we've got another one in there. This is great. Yeah.
Keep them coming.
Keep them coming. Cool. That'll give their eyes a break when they look at that one and then that one. Yes, 1 minute left. Angelica, did you get yours in there? I hope so. Cool.
Back to page numbers.
I know, it's so exciting. Oh no, maybe tomorrow, Angelica.
Okay.
Portfolio review. There's always that.
Yeah.
Yeah, these are looking really cool.
Super funky.
Oh, welcome back, Kevin. All right, I think that's it for submission challenge. So we're gonna give it another minute just to let everything close out, and I'm gonna refresh, and we can see some numbers get over here finishing up on Pouya's page.
Yeah.
So that'll be good. There's always some last minute submissions that I don't want to miss.
Yeah, let's do it, guys.
Yeah. Okay, let's see. All right, so that is that. We've got, I think, almost 10 submissions.
Okay.
Not bad. You guys did pretty good.
Yeah.
Pretty impressed. Thanks all for entering the challenge.
Yeah.
So let's start off with the first one. Oh,
Okay.
hold on. All right. Horizontal poster.
Yeah.
Got it. Aman Khan.
Bed and breakfast.
Cute.
Yeah, that's a nice illustration. I like it.
Yeah.
It's a nice color. I like the sort of the way that you use the color to sort of make those, particular parts of the image to pop, and also like how you're combining the illustration with the type. That's nice. I would make the type maybe even larger and make it interact with the rest of the illustration, so that it's more sort of integrated. But otherwise, I think it's a really cool illustration. Yeah.
Yeah, it's really fun. I like the egg. It's really cute.
Yeah.
It's fun that it doesn't just say breakfast.
Right.
That it's bed
Yeah,
and
visual.
egg.
Right, bed and egg.
But the visual implies breakfast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's fun. It reminds me of the days of Lego.
Yeah. Right.
Which
Yeah,
is
totally.
exciting.
Yeah.
Nice job, Aman. All right. Ooh.
Great.
Benji Geisler.
Really nice. I
Wow,
like
yeah.
that sort of like optical illusion thing going on in the background. That's a really nice, neat image. Also like the colors that you're using.
Mm-hmm. I wonder what type that is, what font that is that he's using. It's really nice with
Yeah.
the dramatic cuts.
Mm-hmm.
It's really cool to see that calligraphic approach on the G.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
great design.
Yeah, I think if I were to maybe like improve a little bit, I would make some more dynamic composition, because I think the imagery is really powerful, but I think the type seems a little bit like it's a bit of an afterthought. So maybe it could be that the type is larger and maybe placed differently. It could be stacked. It could be, around, the edges of the poster. So think about maybe more creative ways of playing with the type, so that it's not just centered. The first thing that might come to mind. Otherwise, yeah, I think it's a really powerful poster. Really nice colors too.
Yeah, I also like the idea that he's putting a bit of a border around it so that it constrains it a little bit more.
Yeah.
Because I think it's fun to do bleed and it's good, but there's a nice resting place for the eye to understand that it's not going on forever.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
That there is an end.
Right.
The blurriness is a little bit hard, and that might be misconstrued as like a printing failure if it's printed as a poster, but then again, that's pretty subjective.
Yeah.
So you might like it or you might not. Oh yeah, Hector has a great question. Is this liquefy in Photoshop? It's trippy. Yeah, it is trippy
Yeah.
and cool.
Definitely.
It's interesting. Cool. Nice job, Benji. All right, Andrew Evans.
Relax.
Relax, don't do it. Dun, 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 dun. Is this an homage to a song?
Is it?
Maybe.
Maybe.
I hope so. I just sang it. Is that beer?
Is it? Or
I
is
don't
it
know.
some- Or maybe it's
Where is Andrew Evans? Tell us all about this poster,
tell
Andrew.
us what it's about.
Yeah.
I like how you stack the typefaces. I'm actually thinking maybe like this kind of way of treating the type that is as if it's like actual like physical object. It's really appealing. And I think you could even play with it more. So like you could play with like you could rotate them and like stack them in a more kind of like playful way so that they're not always like all kind of like vertical. And then like imagine like they're like ice cubes, for instance,
Right,
and then just
yeah.
like rotate them and then stack them on top of each other
Oh, that could
randomly.
be fun. Like you're pouring them into the glass
Yeah,
instead
yeah,
of
exactly.
stacking them up.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Yeah, that's true. You could try it where relax is on the outside of the glass leaning against it too, like a
Yeah.
straw or a
Yeah.
spoon, and
Yeah.
then have another word on the inside as ice.
Yeah,
that could
totally.
be really fun.
Uh-huh.
Cool. The colors are really wild too.
Uh-huh.
I feel like those are the two of the Pantone colors of the year, right?
Oh,
the
yeah.
lime green and the electric yellow.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Very nicely done,
Nice.
Andrew. Any ilks? Wow, this one's really complex. You need to spend some time.
Yeah,
looking
I
at this
know.
one. We
I
have to
was-
digest it first.
Right,
Annie.
yeah. I was trying to read.
Yeah. If you want to even look here too.
Can you read any of them?
No, but the photos, it looks like all the type up here is
Yeah.
also.
I really like how this is like no sort of kind of digital, like it's all just like a photographed piece. And you basically laid out everything in just one shot and that's it. There's something really appealing about that. I'm wondering maybe like you have to find a way to make the viewer understand what's going on. So like maybe a door or entry. I don't know how's the best way to say it. Like an entryway to your poster would be really nice.
And I'm not sure if the type on the very top is added in after or if it's part of the photograph. It's interesting, and it'd be cool to know, like, maybe that was the headline of the poster. I can't read it, but ideally, like, if it was set in another language, then maybe that would be the history of this poster or the headline leading you into it. That could be very nice.
Yeah.
The font on the photo, though, the NEX photos, that one's the only one that really seems out of place. So maybe that would be better put more thoughtfully placed into a photo so that it feels like it's part of it, similar to the other ones. Yeah, this is really cool.
Yeah, it's really great. This whole tangibility, like it's a very sort of tangible piece. Like, it's kind of radical in a way. I like how everything is just like no computer involved, just a simple like shot, and that's it.
Totally. Nice job, Annie. All right, Troy Haviland. Let's check this out. St. Harper's Deli. Is
Cool.
it Saint or Street? I'm guessing Street. Maybe Saint. Street
either.
Harper's. Tell us, Troy. Is this Street or is this Saint? I was like, I'm thinking it's probably Street.
Yeah, I think I would probably, the hierarchy, I think, is one of my questions. What's the most important element on this page. It's, typically what everyone would do is that they would make the title the biggest thing on the page, and then everything else, like, it keeps like going like smaller and smaller. But you could also take an opposite approach. You could put more emphasis on the actual content, which is basically the days and hours, instead of making those tiny, and then try to come up with something more playful layout wise. Like, what if you stack them instead of just putting them individual lines, or came up with a more interesting layout or grid that would allow for a more surprising, or like not surprising even, but even more, a little more dynamic layout.
And Troy had voiced it, and he said it's Saint Harper. So
Okay.
that kind of also changes, I think, some of the way that it could be laid out.
Right.
Like actually having the word saint, and then maybe, like you said, stacking it so that it's even more important.
Right.
I also feel like if it's a deli, maybe showing some food, or incorporating something that's more appetite appealing as far as color goes.
Right.
Yeah,
Definitely.
like
Good
a
point.
lighter color so that the font could be darker and stand out.
Yeah.
Yeah. But other than that, like, it's a great concept for at least showing time and day.
Yeah, definitely.
You got to know when they're open.
Yeah.
And when they're closed.
Yep. Exactly.
Nice job, Trey.
Nice.
Asim Rai. Pink It Now.
Cool.
Nice. Breast cancer awareness campaign.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like how that, especially that sort of ribbon
Oh, yeah.
is going, like,
Totally.
on the top
In and
then
out.
going. Yeah.
And you can also see that the P is meant to be breast. So
Yeah.
that's very
yeah,
clever.
it's a nice little
Yeah.
touch. I just
Nice
noticed
touch,
that.
yeah. I was like, I think
Yeah.
that's yup.
Yeah.
I was like, way to go, Asim.
Yeah.
But there's
Yeah.
a little bit of humor in that.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
it's
definitely.
nice that it's such a heavy topic
Yeah.
and so personal
Uh-huh.
that to put a little bit of playfulness
Yeah,
in
definitely.
it.
Yeah, and the color choice of color, I think, is very appropriate. And how you played with the type, like this played with the image, but also type acts as an type, but also as an image.
Yeah.
That's always nice to see. I think the only thing I would probably maybe improve on would be like all the text that is set at the bottom. It almost feels like you kind of like gave up when you got to that point.
Yeah, it's more of an afterthought.
Right. So maybe I feel like there is more opportunity there to do something a little more interesting than just, placing them.
Yeah, and maybe even using a different font there could be fun.
Yeah.
I think after watching Pouya design today, using a lot of fonts is pretty cool, and
Yeah.
you can see the emphasis of how it feels. So
Yeah.
maybe there's something more feminine for
Yeah,
that part of
exactly.
it. And keeping that strong, like sharp, grotesque type above.
Yeah.
It'll have a nice boundary between the two.
Definitely. Yeah, I think that's a really good point. Definitely needs a little bit more feminine
Yeah.
touch. Yeah.
This
the
is cool.
serif type would be nice. Yeah.
Nice job.
Yeah.
Way to go, Asim. All right. Matt Quistra. I feel like Matt's entered before. I know that name. Welcome back.
Cool. Is this a movie?
And if you
what is
can't read it from that distance, you can look here.
Yeah, I'm trying to kind of.
So common dictionary. Torn. Verb. Past participle. Torn. Pull or rip. So it looks like it's the definition of torn.
Oh, okay.
And then
What's the vertical?
also the Old English of Germanic origin related to Dutch. Interesting. Yeah, it's really eerie. I agree, Val.
Yeah. I think it's definitely communicating that vibe.
Yeah.
I'm wondering, like, maybe something I would probably do is that I think the choice of typeface is one thing that just came to my mind, like for that torn especially, because I think there's a certain vibe to everything else, especially the imagery. I mean, not that you can't sort of play with that or like add something to it, but I think it would be interesting to see how the choice of typeface could actually emphasize on the general mood of this piece, but also like setting it. Like right now, it seems like I don't know. It's kind of crumbling. Maybe that's the intention.
Yeah.
But also, I'm wondering how, but at the same time, it has this kind of like, I don't know. That playfulness seems a little bit too much for this context. So maybe like something that is more like in that eerie that would go with that eerie vibe.
Yeah, it is pretty eerie.
Yeah, and then the text, I feel like it's almost like illegible.
Yeah, I would agree. Maybe bumping up the contrast or the size, or even placing it in a different spot. You can still keep it small, but maybe even making it smaller, but on a lighter background with darker type.
Yeah.
It's also difficult with the vertical aligned type as well on the door frame.
Yeah.
It's a little hard to find that, mainly because it looks like a highlight on the door.
Right.
Which isn't a bad thing if you want it to be more hidden. So that could also be a possibility.
Yeah.
Poster design is so subjective where it's really about the story you're trying to tell.
Definitely.
Yeah.
But something I like about that vertical type is that it kind of plays off of the elements in the image.
Yeah.
So that's a really nice idea.
Yeah,
Why
I thought
not?
that's cool too.
Yeah, do that. Like, why not expand? Why not expand that idea? Across.
And I see that the type is actually torn too, where it's being like it's separated and then dragged apart.
Yeah.
So I like the idea behind it. It's just not legible. So I think the idea is pretty solid.
Right.
So that could be cool to maybe see this. Maybe this one gets redone for a later show today. And whole new concept, but same idea.
Yeah.
That could be cool. Nice job, Matt. All right. Patricia Whisker. He brought flowers. Ooh. That's always nice when someone brings flowers.
Yeah. Nice.
Novella on Gardening by Peter Rabbit Editor. That's cute.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's, again, I would probably here say that it's nice that you're sort of playing with, colorful type, but maybe like think about what that contrast needs to be, and how it sort of, how it works with, how the legibility of whatever text you're setting on the poster. So, and again, like, I think, centering type is one of the things that is just, usually the first thing that comes to mind. But I would try to fight against it. I would try to come up with more like variations on setting type. It doesn't, even though, center composition is usually a very static composition. So the minute you break that, things become a lot more live. Like things feel like there's actually life to them. Your eyes move around the page, versus like something that is completely centered.
That's all you have to look at is the center. Yeah.
Right.
And everything feels like if it's not centered, then it's not aligned.
It's not right. Yeah.
So there's more drastic variance in your eyesight.
Exactly.
Where you're like, oh, that could be an issue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then I would also make the type interact with the image, with that flower. But if it goes behind it, above it, what else could be done there that could be exciting?
Yeah, because if you were to move the flower down a bit and center it more, and then the flower petals could go in front of flower, like you're saying, that could be really fun.
Yeah.
Be more of a Photoshop trick, or maybe some masking in Illustrator, but still really exciting.
Yeah.
I would also think about color and how many colors are being played with right now.
Right.
Because there's light blue, dark blue, yellow, pink, and green.
Right.
And then the negative of white. So, like, it's a lot of color going on.
Right.
And possibly one less color.
Yeah.
Maybe they're removing the extra pink or the dark blue.
Yeah. And it could be all like white type, and then the color is already the only thing that is assigned to the image.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
But it's really nicely done.
Right.
And I love that photo.
Yeah.
Who doesn't like sunflowers?
Yeah, I know. Super happy.
Let's see, I think that might be... Nope, cool, got another one. Chris and Koa by Christian Ospina.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah, it's a really cool.
Make it simple but significant. It's a good message.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I like the abstract sort of imagery and how you're lining up the type with the image, how they interact. I think that's nice. I would say with those, I'm trying to read editorial design.
Oh yeah,
art
editorial
direction.
design, art direction, brand identity,
Right.
and poster design.
Nice. Yeah, I think those are. I like how you're playing with the hierarchy of the numbers and the little description. But I think they could be even more activated. I think that's like the first step. Next is how could you lay them out on the page so that there is more movement on the page, and I think that's a great start. But just because everything seems to be like very sort of attached to that rectangular image, it almost seems like kind of predictable. But you have to think about how you can break that. What if you set the numbers on some kind of a angle, like some kind of a slip?
Yeah. Oh, that could be
slope.
interesting. I also feel like it might be closer to more of a business card design or a business presentation cover versus a poster where, posters are usually trying to send a message and usually trying to say something. So I'd almost want to see you flip the emphasis
Exactly.
and say the make it simple but significant. And that could be your big message for the poster. But then the Chris and Koa studio could be more of a sign-off.
Yeah.
Because then it's like really important and really big. And it's like, oh, what should we make simple and significant? Oh, design.
Right. Yeah.
So you want to draw in the attention of the viewer. But it's really lovely.
Yeah, it's really nice. Good job.
Nice job. All right. I think this might be our last one. Osama Ghazal.
Nice.
Ooh, yeah,
Great.
that's a poster.
Yeah, that's really. Yeah, there's definitely something about posters that it has to, like the first minute you see it, it has to like have a really powerful effect on you. Like it has to immediately catch your eyes. And I mean, I know this is not anything new. Like it's like something that it's been told about posters always, but you always need that. Even though if you do the you do the nerdiest layout, it still needs that element.
Totally.
And I think this is a really good example. Like it's really powerful.
It is very powerful.
Yeah, how you play with the image and the type, how they work with each other.
And also the stacking of the type to reflect the face and the form.
Yeah.
It's very well done.
Yeah.
And also the image has a lot of emotion and power to it. Having the direct eye contact.
Yeah.
It really draws you in and it makes you feel like that person is really speaking to you with the words that's on the page.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
it's really well done. Yeah, and it's a nice message too.
Yeah.
So it feels considered.
Yeah.
Nice job,
Definitely.
Osama.
Great job.
This is really, really awesome.
Yeah.
All right. Placeholder. That's it. Gus did that one. Good poster, Gus. It's really nicely done. I like the use of color.
Right.
All of
Like
the
the
balls.
circle, the concentric
you
circles.
failed on using type, but
Very nice.
good job. Okay, so we've got about 4 minutes left. So maybe what we could do is pass it back over to Pouya
All right.
and take a look at what you've completed today.
Sure.
Oh, 2 minutes. Oh,
2 minutes.
2 minutes left.
Ah.
The heat is on.
Yeah.
Now we're under fire.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. So we had our system defined last session yesterday. So what we did today was basically bringing into content and applying all those parameters to the content and let the elements move around. So some of the parameters that we have are these sort of dynamic rules that were applied to things like the page numbers.
Yeah, they
the
look super cool.
images, how they move around, how those grid
Yeah, the layouts look great. It's nice to see.
are applied to the images, and how the type basically interacts with the text, what happens when they overlap the images, or when they run into the text. So we're sort of looking at all these variations that are kind of unexpected, and I was hoping that they would happen based on the rules that we specify for this
Amazing.
piece.
And what do we think we're working on tomorrow?
Yeah, so tomorrow we're gonna continue working on the rest of the content for this section. So we are almost like a little over like halfway through the whole thing.
Cool.
So we're gonna finish that, and then we're gonna go back and refine things.
Nice.
And if we have time, we might do a little sort of like intro page for this section.
Awesome. Well, I'm stoked.
All right.
I am really liking what I'm learning, and I know that the chat's been really impressed with all of the rules
great.
and then chaos.
Yeah.
So thank you, Pouya, for joining us
thank you.
today. And thank you, chat, for being so fun.
Yeah, thanks,
Look
guys.
forward to the next session with Kathleen hosting Amalgam, and it'll be pretty amazing. So stick with us for some more editorial design. Thanks a lot, guys. We'll
Bye,
see you
guys.
soon.